Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. The first of the year brings both the promise of new beginnings and the desire of self-improvement. 45% of Americans decide to make New Year's resolutions each January. And while many people focus on personal health goals in the new year, which we'll explore later in the show, the year is also a great time to check your financial fitness. My first guest is Kathryn Crumpton. She's the manager for the Center for Financial Wellness at Consumer Credit Counseling Services of Greater Milwaukee. Good morning, Kathryn.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
And as I stated, there is a large number of people who have made a determined effort to actually cut back on some of their debt, get their finances straight, and actually we're privileged to have you here to help get them started. So tell us more about the Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Greater Milwaukee and what you do.
Okay. We actually were founded in 1972 when people from labor got together with people from the United Way and said, you know, we really need an organization that can help people with their finances. They were finding that people who are struggling financially had more absenteeism, more errors on the job, were less productive, and the United Way funded us. But they didn't want to fund just a freestanding organization, so we became a program of Family Service of Milwaukee, which is now Aurora Family Service.
Okay, so a lot of good stuff happening in there, and Aurora Family Service Center, Financial Wellness, and Aurora Family Service is a nonprofit organization dedicated to strengthening and stabilizing families, not only financially, but physically and emotionally.
Right.
Yeah.
It's important that all three work together. If you're not doing well financially, you're probably not going to be sleeping very well. You might have issues with gastrointestinal headaches or backaches, neck aches, just feeling even depressed or anxious with that. So you need to feel healthy with that and physically. So you've got to take care of that physical component. And if you do have a disease, you need to be taking your medication. So properly seeing your doctor so you don't lose time from work, which loses money, which gets, into debt. And it's just like, a circle, a wheel going around and around.
A vicious cycle is the best way to put it.
It is. It truly is.
Wow. So in your opinion, Kathryn, what's the first step to taking control of your finances?
I think the first step you have to do is really take a good look at where you are financially. And the first of the year is a good time to do that because you usually get all your year-end statements. So if you have a 401k, you'll get a statement on that, so you'll know how much is in there. You've gotten your property tax bill if you're a homeowner, so you have some idea of the value of your home, anything from savings accounts. So it's a good time to really take a look at, this is where I'm at financially. These are the assets I have, and these are the liabilities I have. This is my debt. And from there, trying to set up goals. But you also need to have a budget. You need to have a plan as to where that money's going to go each month. And for some of us, we know. We live from paycheck to paycheck. Money comes in, the money goes out. So you might want to keep track for a month or two to see how much are you spending at the grocery store, how much for gas, how much if you're stopping to get coffee in the morning.
Don't even bring that one up because mine are chai tea lattes, and really you add it up. I did it. I added up all of the things I could have lived without, and I'm thinking that is a lot of money.
It does add up.
Yeah.
Do you eat out lunch? Do you eat out a lot more than cooking at home?
Yep.
So all those little things. And if you have children, they've always got their hand out. Mom, can I have? Dad, can I have? And and mom doesn't stand for made of money. So we have to be really careful about how much we're helping our children or just nurturing them into expecting everything from us.
Yeah, and like when you go in the store, the kids always think they're supposed to get something. You have to almost kind of make them realize that every time we go somewhere, you don't have, that's what I used to hear, you don't have to get something.
Right, yeah, you don't have to come home with something.
Right.
You're there.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that information because I know a lot of people can relate to that. So your counselors are actually certified by the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, which is also a nonprofit network of member agencies that are dedicated to providing education, counseling, and repayment plans for those who are in stressful financial situations. And that is a term there, stressful financial situations.
Right.
What are some some of the situations that fall under that term?
Well, I think money is stressful.
It can be.
It is. And if you think about a couple who come home at the end of the day from working and their children, they're checking in with their children. Do you have homework? How was school? Trying to put some food on the table, maybe open a couple of pieces of mail, throw a load of clothes in the washer. You know, you get the kids settled into bed, dishes are done, and you sit down. Well, who wants to talk about their finances at that time?
Yeah.
Because there's a good chance that blaming might come in, or denial, or whatever. So I think it's really important that if you share money decisions with a partner, that you talk about those, not blame, but really look at what's going on. And even a single person can be very stressed out and overwhelmed when all of a sudden they're dealing with student loan debt and credit card debt and a car payment. It can be very overwhelming for some people. So it's important to get help and talk to a certified credit counselor who can help you sort through what's going on, together make some decisions on how to go forward, have some action steps, some goals. All of that can help get a person back on track.
Yeah, and your counselors actually are mediators with creditors that could actually, sometimes creditors will just say, you know, this is what it is, this is what you owe, period, point blank. But maybe if you get a credit counselor who has a little more insight on what can be done versus not, they may be able to help you get that payment lowered or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of credit card companies will lower the interest rates if you're working with a credit counselor, and that can be huge because interest rates can be well into the 20s, even 30%. So if you can get that down to around 9%, that's a huge difference in getting that debt paid off.
Yeah, and you have people who have been doing absolutely fine with their finances, and then maybe they got sick and hospital bills just set them back on a whole nother level because it happens to people each and every day.
Yes.
So, you know, that's a whole nother scenario, but you guys deal with that because you are right there under Aurora.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and there are things that can happen that we don't expect to happen in life, and it can be a serious illness, or maybe your hours have been cut at work, or you've been laid off, or you're going through a divorce, or you've lost a loved one, and or there might even be a gambling or a drug addiction in the family. So those are the kinds of things that can really start spinning the finances into a downward spiral.
Yeah, life happens, and that's pretty much what it boils down to. You guys also help people consolidate and reschedule debt payments, and you have face-to-face confidential counseling, and confidentiality is a big deal for a lot of people, knowing that maybe if they're, you know, I don't know, a well-known politician that, you know, you guys aren't going to be talking about it when they're campaigning for whatever. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, some people need to have a little bit more privacy than others, right?
Yes. And that really is important because we aren't very comfortable talking about our finances. And often when people come in to see us, there's a feeling of shame, of guilt about what they've done with their finances or what they haven't done with their finances, and people feel pretty bad already coming in. So we want to make that a good experience. We don't blame. We don't say you can't spend your money on this anymore or anything else. But
you don't set restrictions, but you really try to guide people in the right way. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Make some suggestions, you know, and together come up with a plan that's doable for them.
Yeah. And since we're talking about money and how money can be stressful, it's even stressful for people to say, I want to do that, but how much does it cost? So go ahead and help them out in that.
And really, our fees are very minimal to come in and meet with a counselor, and no one's denied service because of inability to pay. That's the important thing. So there's no reason not to come in and meet with a counselor.
All right, and you guys do have 5 locations throughout the Milwaukee area?
We do. Okay. We have one at 3200 West Highland Boulevard, and out on Capitol and
I wouldn't dare make you have to remember them all. What I will do is send them to your website. She knows. Don't get it twisted. She does know. But creditcounselingwi.org is your website address, or they can give you a call and figure out which one of those locations is closest to them at 414-482-8801.
Yes.
All right. And the beginning of the year is a perfect time also to check your credit history and look for any mistakes that are on your credit report. What issues, when it comes to mistakes that may exist, what can that cause as far as problems down the line for a person?
Well, everything kind of hinges on your credit score. The better your credit score, the less you're going to have to pay for credit. And your interest rates will be lower. You can get a lower interest rate card. So it's really important to take a look at what's on your credit report. Plus, you also want to make sure that there's information on there that, you know, belongs to you and doesn't belong to you. If it's something that isn't yours, you want to be able to get that off as soon as possible. It's also a way to make sure that you haven't been a victim of identity theft.
Right.
So an excellent idea to always be checking your credit card statements, your bank statements, and your credit report. Now, when you go to annualcreditreport.com to get your 3 free reports from the credit bureaus, they won't give you your score unless you pay for it. So you might want to do that. You could go to creditkarma.com and get your credit score for free, which is a fairly good indicator. Some credit card companies are actually giving you your credit score every month when they send you your bill, so you can have some idea. But that credit score really determines a lot. It can determine where you live, it can determine what you're going to pay for credit, and it can determine whether or not you get a job.
Wow, and they do, insurance companies, a little bit of everybody takes a peek at that credit report because it's kind of interesting, but they think that it really says something about, you know, you as a person, how you pay your bills.
And how responsible you are doing that. Now, for a lot of people, they do have an experience in life where they weren't able to pay their bills. Maybe it was a layoff or something happened and there's kind of a blip in their credit report. So what you want to see is that, you know, they were paying well, maybe they had a blip and then they started paying again. What you don't want to see is erratic behavior on a credit report.
Yeah. The good news is that it's all fixable. It might take some people longer than others, but it can be repaired. So that's why I have you here today, so that people don't have to feel stressed out about that time they didn't have money to pay a bill, and they want to really just get on the right track and, you know, start anew. There are people that can help really make a difference.
Yes, and we'll work with people as long as they need our help. So we've done some credit coaching with people that will come in and need help with actually designing that budget every month or helping them improve their credit, looking at how they're handling things.
Yeah, and it's important to mention that the law requires the 3 major credit reporting agencies to provide you with 1 free credit report every year if in fact you would like to have that. So something to keep in mind. And you did name a couple of reputable places that people can go to get their free credit score as well as a free credit report. Before we run out of time, a lot of times you see people who are quick to kind of look at their debt and say, I'm just going to file bankruptcy, when that is not always the best step. Talk about some of the reasons why bankruptcy should be a last resort.
Well, it really needs to be a situation where you either have a creditor that's going to garnish your wages or put a lien against your house or something major, or you're going to lose your house. So I would say before you even think about bankruptcy, come and talk to a credit counselor first who can see if that's in your best interest. Sometimes people just get really nervous. Collection people sometimes sound very threatening. They think they might be put into jail. We don't have debtor prisons, so it's just a good idea.
Thank God.
They'd be probably pretty full, actually.
Building plenty of them. And it's really, you know, it's not a funny thing because, like you said early on, financial debt really can cause a lot of stress for people, especially when they're facing the fact that they might lose their home or their car that they depend on to get to work, whatever the case may be. So the goal today is for them to watch this program and know that they do have options. So
they do.
Good stuff. And I just wanted to say quickly, for college students, because I remember as a college student there were always credit card companies set up in the student union, and of course your credit is perfect because you don't really have any. And you end up walking away with like 4 and 5 credit cards at the end of the year, and at first it's like $10 a month, no big deal, but then you get 5 and 6 cards, they pile up, and as a college student who's like pinching pennies, you kind of put yourself in a bad place for once you graduate, nobody wants to graduate with debt, you know, so.
No, and student loan debt is
enough for a lifetime.
Right, it is.
The truth. So I just thank you so much for coming by and really helping us relay the message that people can really change their outlook on how they deal with their money, and that financial fitness is within their reach.
Yes, and a very important thing. So if they don't make any other goals, think about financial fitness this year.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Kathryn Crumpton is the manager for the Center for Financial Wellness at the Consumer Credit Counseling Services of Greater Milwaukee. Again, you can give them a call at 414-482-8801 or visit their website at creditcounselingwi.org. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll continue to take a look at the things on your New Year's resolution list. For instance, if you're resigned to give up your couch potato status this year, we'll introduce you to a fitness trainer that can help you kickstart your journey to healthier living right after this.